5 minutes till the top of the hour. Turning now to a wrap of your top stories of the day.
Good morning. In just a few hours, city leaders will meet to discuss transit safety changes following the death of 23-year-old Irina Zarutska on the light rail last month. At Tuesday night's city council meeting, city leaders discussed a potential problem in passengers rightfully boarding the train. The stabbing has left not only members in the community more cautious, but advocates looking to city leaders and the judicial system for answers.
Right now, 2 teenagers are facing murder charges for killing another teen in North Charlotte. Police say 16-year-old Tyshawn Stokes was shot outside his home last month. Mothers of Murdered Offspring Executive Director Lisa Crawford says too many families are being torn apart and there needs to be an end to teen gun violence.
If your CMS student had trouble doing homework last night, they were not alone. The district releasing a statement explained there was a problem with the school filtering system when devices are off the CMS network. That means students could have a problem connecting to the internet outside of school. The district says it's working with the vendor to fix the issue.
Traffic starting to ramp up this morning, especially on I-77 northbound and I-85 northbound this morning. Just be aware of that. Our biggest crash right now in the Steel Creek area at I-485.
Plain and simple, we're warming up. Back to the lower 90s Friday and Saturday. Slight chance for storms to the west today. Again on Thursday. Best chances on Saturday.
Up next at 7 o'clock on WCNC Plus, police in Gastonia working hard to solve a deadly home invasion. Plus, using music to save lives. How one Charlotte man's song is raising hope for a lot of patients out there. And hurricane season ramping up, how you can stay prepared.
That starts in just a few minutes at 7 on WCNC Plus. That's our streaming platform. Join us there.
streaming live right now at 7 a.m. right here on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington. A live look now at Lake Norman from the Freedom Boat Club. And you can see another start to this Wednesday morning. A bit cloudy out there. Chris says things are going to be warming up today. It looks like somebody's actually getting ready to take their boat out onto the water.
Yeah, if you're like, oh man, I want a few more 90-degree days, especially on a Friday. Well, what do you know? I have the perfect gift for you. Here's 4 different examples about how beautiful it is. Depends where you are. Some of us seeing more of a golden sky. The other one's seeing more of a pinkish sky as the sun officially is now just 2 minutes deep into it's now rising up for the day. Current temperatures right around 60 degrees, so not a bad start today. And then 56 degrees right around Lincolnton. So every day over on WCNC Charlotte, I do Dog of the Day. So I want to feature these two. This is Charlie and Addie, and brought to us by Ed and Jan. So good to have you two. We have a Pomeranian and a Pomsky here, ready for their day. Great walk forecast. It's going to be a delightful morning. You have that cool, crisp air to begin the day. Temperatures in the lower to the mid 70s to complete the morning, and then we'll get into the lower 80s by the afternoon, about 2 degrees warmer all in all. So not too bad if, say, if you're going to be bringing the kids to school, maybe those pre-K students that are officially starting today. Also, shout out to my wife, Kimmy. I know you're watching. I love you. We are heading over to a pretty decent forecast. We have the mid 80s right around tomorrow, and then we're going to continue to see a nice little rise in the moisture, the temps, and the cloud cover over the coming days, but on and off sunshine certainly in between. 83 for today. As I mentioned, temperatures getting into the lower 80s pretty quickly today. The last 3 days have actually had a high right around 81 degrees. And then we have some rain that's going to greet us really on the western side of our viewing area. So not everyone is going to see this rain. It's actively raining right now in the foothills from Morganton to Taylorsville up to Banner Elk. Very on and off light rain. I think the best chance for rain for you is when we have a low line of thunderstorms that start to greet us either side of noon from Asheville up into the high country. And then areas like Shelby County, it's around the 1 to 3 o'clock hour that you're starting to see a chain of thunderstorms move through. But look what happens once you go from 2 to 4. We see that line almost cut in half or down 75%, meaning that you could have a little bit of rain, but I think our thunderstorm activity is done by the mid to late afternoon. So areas like Charlotte and Concord, you might have a brief rain, but it doesn't look to be anything major. And then rain cuts off, and then we head into round 2 tomorrow. Tomorrow, get another chance for an isolated scattered thunderstorm. Better chance a little bit more widespread up in the mountains foothills north of I-40, and then that eventually winds down. Then we dry out again heading into your Friday. And at that point, we are seeing a surge. It looks to be another sunny day. A beautiful looking one on Friday, but we're getting into the lower 90s, and we should do that again on Saturday. Saturday right now, the best chance for rain. It looks like a cold front could push in a line of showers and thunderstorms. Even borderline strong thunderstorms would be a possibility by your Saturday afternoon. Heading into your Sunday, we're cooling down big time behind that, officially dropping down to the upper 50s come Tuesday morning, with highs even only reaching the upper 70s the middle of next week. So not too bad. We have a fall and summer forecast for you all in one. Let's get right over to our first check of traffic here on WCNC Plus. Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, we're taking a look at I-77 northbound at Carowinds. All of our interstates are starting to basically get a little congested this morning because more people are up and headed to work, headed to wherever they're going. So we're at that peak commute time. That means it's time to give yourself plenty of time and practice patience on the roads. So we want to start in Salisbury actually this morning. 2 lanes are blocked right here on I-85 southbound. This is between Old Union Church Road, exit 79, and US 52. So if you're out that way towards Rowan County, just be aware of that. And then moving into the Charlotte area, here are most active crashes. Steel Creek Road at I-485. This is reported around in the 6 o'clock hour. So it's been hanging around a lot of congestion on NC 160 itself. I-485 looking fine though. And then an accident at Park Road at Arbor Point Drive right near South Meck High School. And then all the way up in Troutman, this is also from the 5 o'clock hour, Autumn Leaf Road North between Autumnwood Road and South Main Street. And this is what our map looks like across the area. Just a lot of congestion, so make sure that you give yourself plenty of time and just drive safely this morning.
All right, Destiny, thanks. Coming up in just 2 hours at 9 a.m., Charlotte's mayor calling a special meeting with transit leaders to address safety on the light rail. It comes nearly 2 weeks after a woman was stabbed to death.
And now a new revelation in the case. Katz now says the accused killer had no business being on that train because he didn't have a ticket. WCNC Charlotte's Bria Smith is live this morning with the latest. Bria.
Well, good morning. Yeah, we're just outside the government center where in just a few hours we will hear from city leaders about how they plan to tackle transit safety. Now, since the beginning of this year, at least 40 incidents have taken place on or within CATS. The latest victim story, Irina Zarutska, ending in a deadly stabbing, has left not only members in the community more cautious, but advocates looking to city leaders and the judicial system for answers. Some we've spoken with are concerned with the release of criminals after showing violence repeatedly. At Tuesday night's city council meeting, city leaders discussed a potential problem in passengers rightfully boarding the train.
One, none of those mechanisms were utilized. That's a problem. Two, it doesn't seem like there was a clear way to say this might be a problem. Whether it's a problem or not, we're not even tracking that an individual climbed on board and did not pay.
Now that meeting is public, and we'll start here at 9 a.m. and we'll have more from inside coming to you at 11:30 a.m. Back to you guys.
All right, Bria, thanks so much for that live report. Nonprofit organization Sustain Charlotte recently released a statement noting the light rail still remains one of the safest ways to travel around the city. It added the killing was the first deadly attack on the Blue Line since it opened in 2007. The organization also called for a more holistic solution, such as trained staff, better lighting and station design, combined with mental health investment, and said it will honor Irina Zarutska's memory by continuing its work to ensure safe travel. Well, coming up, Cardi B responds to being cleared of those assault charges. We're back in just 2 minutes here on WCNC Plus. 7:09 now, turning to some stories impacting the nation. President Trump says National Guard troops will be heading to Chicago. Last night, the president said troops will be going to combat crime in the city, but he didn't say when. The president says it's not political, pointing to the 58 shootings in the city over the Labor Day weekend that left 8 people dead. Chicago's mayor and Illinois governor, both Democrats, have repeatedly said they do not want the National Guard.
When you lose, look, I have an obligation. This isn't a political thing. I have an obligation.
We are ready to fight troop deployments in court, and we will do everything possible to ensure that agents operating inside the confines of this state do so in a legal and ethical manner.
The president's announcement came the same day a federal judge ruled that Mr. Trump broke the law by sending troops in Los Angeles.
This morning, members of Congress from both sides of the aisle are pushing the Department of Justice to release all files related to Jeffrey Epstein, despite the Trump administration saying there's nothing new. It comes after survivors of the sex offender spent 2 days speaking with lawmakers. NBC's Alice Barr has more on the women and what justice years after their abuse will look like for them.
Over young people using that power.
After years of suffering, 9 survivors or relatives of Jeffrey Epstein's sexual abuse finding strength in numbers.
Alone we are afraid, together we are feared.
Sitting down exclusively with NBC's Hallie Jackson.
How old were you? I was 14.
And standing up for their stories they believe have been sidelined in a political fight over the Epstein files, saying none of them has been contacted by the Department of Justice.
We haven't been protected and we haven't been informed.
The survivors meeting with lawmakers, raising the pressure for the Trump administration to release more documents and reopen the DOJ investigation.
There's been a severe miscarriage of justice, a delay in accountability.
On Tuesday, the House Oversight Committee released more than 30,000 pages of Epstein files subpoenaed from the Justice Department. Most of the material had already been made public. Now, a bipartisan-led petition aims to force a vote on releasing the full files.
We want to bring justice to every single person who was involved in the Epstein evils or the cover-up thereof, but we also want to be equally certain that we protect the innocent victims.
The survivors in this room pushing to maintain what accountability they have seen, urging President Trump to rule out a pardon for convicted co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell, angry over the attention she's received for her story and working to center theirs.
On the island.
Ghislaine Maxwell is serving a 20-year sex trafficking sentence and was moved to a lower security prison camp days after answering questions behind closed doors from a top Justice Department official. The White House says President Trump is not actively considering a Maxwell pardon, but he has not publicly ruled it out. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Rapper Cardi B leaving court smiling yesterday after a jury found her not liable for assault in a civil case. A former security guard was suing for $24 million, claiming the rapper hit, scratched, and spat on her at a Beverly Hills medical office back in 2018. Cardi B was pregnant at the time. She hadn't revealed it, and she said the security guard tried to record her without her consent at the doctor's office. The plaintiff stands by her story. The jury sided with Cardi B on all 4 counts, with her team saying it was only a heated verbal fight.
It's about accountability. I had my day in court. I showed up. I held my head high, and I can walk away and say that I showed up, and she had to look me in the eye. I had to look her in the eye, and we did our best.
I'm not even playing around. I will, even if I'm in my deathbed, I swear to God, I will say it in my deathbed. I did not touch that woman. I did not touch that girl.
Cardi B says that she will countersue anyone who goes after her with a frivolous lawsuit.
Coming up, Hurricane Helene 1 year later, the effort to make sure cell phone service can stand the next storm.
The time is now 7:15. This month marks 1 year since Hurricane Helene roared through western North Carolina. Not only did that storm rip apart homes and flood roads, it also cut off what so many people needed most, a phone connection. At one point, 900,000 homes and businesses were without power. WCNC Charlotte's Tradisha Woodard spoke with cell phone providers and public safety officials about their efforts to restore power and what they're changing to be better prepared next time.
After Helene had passed, many families were stranded without power, with entire communities left to wonder if anyone even knew they were there. I spoke with different cell phone providers and public safety officials, not only about their efforts to restore power, but also in the things they're changing to better prepare for next time. After Hurricane Helene's wind and rain, there was something else. The quiet. Phones stopped ringing. Texts wouldn't send. Many families, first responders, and neighbors were suddenly cut off from the world.
Not only were they sitting without power, but we had lost so many roads and bridges that folks couldn't leave the communities where they were.
Lillian Govis is the director of communications in Buncombe County. She says for many folks, radio became the only answer. When cell towers failed and power was gone, families clinched to whatever updates they could find on those fading airwaves.
Lots of people went to their cars and listened to the radio in order to get information from us. We were doing live updates twice a day. And so our local broadcast outlets were taking that information and running it live.
Phone providers like Verizon and AT&T say they had to come up with new ways to get people connected.
So Helene changed the game. It was more assets that were needed than what was stationed there. The impact to the network was greater than anything that we had dealt with historically.
They recall the numerous amounts of barriers when it came to restoration efforts.
Being able to get eyes in the field via helicopter was the only way that we could survey the area, because the waters hadn't receded enough for us to be able to drive vehicles in to be able to restore the network.
So the biggest barriers were safety. It was about getting people, personnel, and equipment out to temporarily restore in some places.
The FCC also sharing critical factors to resolving the issue.
Staffing is a number one issue on the ground at these emergency management centers, as well as the public safety answering points or emergency 911 call centers.
Since then, companies say they've taken steps to better prepare for next time.
We're working throughout the year to harden the network, to invest in generators and HVAC and making sure the batteries work.
We have gone to new vendors to get them to produce more of our assets that we needed, and added over hundreds of assets to our fleet in order to respond to storms like this going forward in the future.
The FCC also looking at better ways to working ahead.
Are we coordinating with the right state officials, the broadcasters, the other telecommunications, emergency managers on the ground? And the third thing is looking at the FCC of how can we leverage our authorities and resources to best help our federal partners and state partners.
All to ensure one of the most powerful tools in a disaster isn't just a rescue truck, but also a working phone. Tradisha Woodard, WCNC Charlotte.
Well, more money is headed to Western North Carolina after FEMA approved an extra $35 million in aid. The money's going to cover everything from road and bridge repairs to debris removal and utility restoration. So far, FEMA has provided $600 million to help the state rebuild.
All right, let's get right to your tropical forecast then, shall we? We are not seeing anything close to the United States. Usually whenever you have a tropical wave in this zone, it's about 8 to 14 days out before it's even a concern for any coastal areas. And then we're also keeping an eye on any sort of low that could just spin up out in the Gulf, out in the Atlantic, because 'tis the season that the water temperatures are warm enough that it could spiral into something. So looking at some of those ocean water temperatures, everything is really anywhere average or above average. We don't have any well above averages really at this point, but still everything's really just prime time. The only exception is we do have some slightly cooler waters right here. There's really been a lot of upwelling, what this is called, as we've had a few systems out here that bring some of the cooler waters to the surface. But we're looking at the widespread jet stream pattern because that one little wave that I was showing you that's off the African coast now has a 70% chance for development over the next 3 to 7 days. So that really puts us by the weekend that we could be calling this Tropical Storm Gabrielle. But whenever we're forecasting about hurricanes, and actually my weather IQ today is exactly on this, but a little bit more about the models and things that we use. But one of the biggest tools is just where the atmosphere is flowing. Typically, the Bermuda High, this big old flow that you're seeing out here, rotates in a clockwise manner. So the closer this is to the United States, well, the better chance that we could drive things into the Carolinas and the East Coast. The further it's off towards the east, well, oftentimes it takes any of these waves off Africa and drives them directly out in the Atlantic. So if we roll tape through the weekend, see that little guy right there? That's picking up on our next potential tropical cyclone, likely becoming a hurricane at this point because of how warm the waters are. But this Bermuda High should, keyword should, glide this thing back out to sea. But there's still so many things that are a guiding factor. Something else can keep this a little bit further off towards the south, so something that we want to watch, but it's not really a concern over the next 7 days that you're seeing right here. 83 degrees for today. Closer to home, we have no big systems that are really going to interrupt us besides on Saturday. A slight chance for a little bit of rain the further west that you go today. Chance for an isolated shower or storm today heading into tonight. Friday looks to be one of the sunnier days that we have this week and the hotter ones as well. 92 could also feel more like the mid 90s, so feeling like summer. And then Saturday, the first Saturday of September, lower 90s before clouds increase and we have a chance for storms. That should be mid to late afternoon, and then that eventually is going to cool us down back to either side of 80 degrees to finish the weekend and heading into the middle of next week. Coming up over the next half hour, I'll go hour by hour through our futurecast, also showing you a sneak peek of what this Saturday and Sunday is looking to helping you plan any weekend plans if you have them. Let's get over to traffic. Destiny, how's this morning looking? Better than yesterday?
It is better than yesterday, but at the same time, we are in that busy part of the morning, so it's just expected that we have a couple more incidents on the road. Right now, we're looking at I-77 northbound at Carowinds. Right now, we're seeing that usual congestion on northbound traffic coming up from South Carolina into the Charlotte area this morning. I have a wider view because I do want to go out to Salisbury in 1 minute, but we do have a new crash that I want to talk about first. I-85 northbound between US 321 and NC7 in Gastonia this morning. So this is already going to cause some issues on I-85 northbound here in this area. So up in Salisbury, 2 lanes were blocked on I-85 northbound between Old Union Church Road and US 52. I'm seeing an official report that it is cleared, but as you can see, still a backup for folks heading through Rowan County to get south here on I-85. Now going back into the Charlotte area, new crash Old Statesville Road between I-45 and Alexanderana Road. Lots of backups right here on I-45 outer, it looks like. And then also we have one new crash here, Tom Sadler Road at Mount Holly Road. So these are all within the last hour. Of course, we'll continue to talk about traffic updates throughout the morning.
I'm the Larry Sprinkle. Time for today's Tiny Town, surrounded by a lot of other tiny towns, not too far from Newland, North Carolina. In Avery County, Crossnor, North Carolina. This is, well, if you want to call it downtown, known for its small post office. A lot of people know about that. It's actually in Avery County, and the population is 143. The area, less than a half mile in territory. Crossnor is known for Crossnor Communities for Children, a sanctuary for children and their families. It's been there a long, long time. Crossnor, North Carolina, zip code 28616, population 143, and that's today's Tiny Town. I'm Larry Sprinkle.
All right, Larry, thanks so much. As we get closer to the start of the NFL season, we are celebrating with a Countdown to Kickoff special. It'll feature one-on-one interviews with Panther stars Derek Brown and J.C. Horn, along with the story behind the couple who designs the team's cleats. Join our sports team tonight at 9 here on WCNC Plus and on WCNC Charlotte for that special.
Stop what you're doing and take a look at this. I mean, we have some of the prettiest sunrises, I think.
We really do.
In the country. Just a gorgeous shot there over uptown. Keep it right here on WCNC Plus. We're back in just a few minutes.
Well, good morning, everybody. So what to expect today? Yesterday, the day before, and on Sunday, we hit 81 degrees. Well, we're starting the slow warm-up. We're back to 83 today. All in all, the skies could look like this right here. A mix of cloud and sunshine. A little more cloud cover than certainly what we had yesterday and certainly the day before. More clouds to end the day, but we're also looking at a slight chance for rain right here in the middle of the afternoon. Really, it's the 321 corridor and areas west that have the best chance for rain, but a stray shower could reach the Charlotte area around the 3 to 5 o'clock time frame, and then we'll fade out and we'll dry out for the evening after that. Slight chance for a thunderstorm for your Thursday. We're warming up and getting more humid during that day, but boy, are we feeling the difference. It is hot and humid on Friday, feeling like July again, even feeling like the mid-90s on Friday, lower 90s on Saturday, with your next best chance for showers and storms along cold front, which will chill us down heading into the end of the weekend and next week. Destiny, what's going on this morning?
This morning, we are starting to see a lot more traffic building up on our interstates, as well as more accidents. I-77 northbound right now at Carowinds. As we know, this is already a big traffic backup time of the day, but these accidents are not helping. We did have an accident that was on I-85 in Rowan County. It has since cleared, but this morning, we have this one on I-85 northbound. Just be aware.
Thanks for streaming live on WCNC Plus at 7:30. I'm Lisa Washington.
And I'm Ben Thompson. A crime alert this morning in West Charlotte. We've learned one person is in the hospital from a shooting. Medic says it happened along Major Street just before 5 this morning. It's right near the interchange of I-85 and Freedom Drive. That person we know has life-threatening injuries. No word yet on what led up to the shooting. We're working to learn more, though.
New this morning, a Charlotte mother is facing multiple charges after her child died of a fentanyl overdose. CMPD says Helene Ingram is charged with murder and negligent child abuse and the death of her 9-month-old daughter. Ingram is set to appear in court this morning at 10. Right now, 2 teenagers are facing murder charges for killing another teen in North Charlotte. Officers say 16-year-old Tyshawn Stokes was shot outside his home last month. Mothers of murdered offspring Executive Director Lisa Crawford says too many families are being torn apart and there needs to be an end to teen gun violence.
Now there are 3 young boys whose lives, one is gone, forever gone, and 2 are ruined. And why? Why is that? We have got to get down to the questions of what is going on and what can we do.
Crawford said there is no single answer. The organization is committed to finding solutions and resources needed to help save lives. Gastonia police are raising the reward for information in the 2021 shooting of John Luke Moore, who was killed during a home invasion on Allison Avenue. Police are now offering $9,000. In July, officers released new security footage of the suspects. Now, in the video, you can see 3 masked people breaking down that door, then running out after a couple of minutes. If you know anything about this case, you should call Gastonia Police or Crime Stoppers.
All right, who is ready for a terrific day? Now, today does come with more clouds. We have rain chances further off towards the west, but it's still beautiful. Monroe, the further east that you go, it has been absolutely gorgeous. More clouds starting to roll in around Charlotte, so don't be surprised if all of a sudden it does become cloudier. And look at the difference, 56 in Monroe with a mostly cloudy sky. Over Charlotte, it's 60 degrees, and up the mountains, it's 55. So it's actually almost just as cool in Boone compared to Monroe, which is not something that usually happens. And we're down to 51 degrees for our low right around Wadesboro, just because we've been under clear skies. This is really a testament of what it looks like whenever you have cloud cover, which you've mainly seen up in here, compared to a clear sky at this time of the morning, because the clear sky always maximizes your cool down. Charlotte, this is the 3rd morning in a row that we've hit 59 or cooler, and as you can see, 58, 58, 59, and before that we did have one 59-degree point, but this is definitely the coolest stretch of days we've had since late May, so it's been a while. You're out the door forecast, looking good. We're back to the mid-70s, feeling great by 11 a.m. We have that crisp air once again, but one thing will start to change, especially by the evening. It's going to start to feel a little bit stickier, where we've had really unchanged air over the last 3 days. Sunday was great. Monday was amazing. Tuesday was spectacular. And then 83 degrees today still isn't too bad. Just some areas are going to be dealing with some rain. I think by the time you get to Bark in the ballpark, you're going to be just fine, which, by the way, you get a 2-for-1. There's a doubleheader going on versus the Jumbo Shrimp here for a makeup game for this Wednesday game. That's why it's starting a little bit earlier, right around 5:05. So as I mentioned, 81 degrees is where we have been. 83 is really the mark that we're going to see a big zoom up as far as those temperatures are concerned, but we're actively seeing a little bit of rain across the area, and that's going to be my next focal point of this forecast. Where's it going to rain, and are you going to see rain? Now, the worst of the activity is right now here just southwest of Kingsport and Johnson City, Tennessee, just like the song. Some widespread showers and thunderstorms are happening, but I think what's going to happen is it rides over the mountains. It will start to weaken, especially as it pushes its way off towards the east. So I'm not discounting that we're not going to see this, but it is definitely going to get a little bit weaker the further east that it goes. So not everyone is going to see this all in all. So coming up, I'm going to go hour by hour, really just comb through that future cast. I'm going to spend most of my time as well as a look at the tropics next time we talk about weather. But the 7-day forecast you all came for, lower 80s today, mid to the upper 80s and more humid tomorrow, and then the lower 90s and a humid day on Friday. Best chance for storms, though, will be later in the afternoon, heading in the evening on Saturday along a cold front, which will eventually strip temperatures down to the 10 degrees, leaving a temperature roller coaster from fall to summer back to fall status within just 7 days. Let's get right over to Destiny. How are things looking since the last time I talked to you?
Well, right now it is definitely a busy morning on our interstates. Things have definitely ramped up. This is I-85 near Belmont. The southbound side looks fine, but the northbound side, lots of traffic if you're heading in from Gastonia. Not only that this morning, but as you can see, a lot going on, even on I-485 down in the southwest part of the region. But here we go. We do have an accident that might shut down the interstate on the northbound side, according to Gastonia Police. That's I-85 north between exit 17 and exit 19 here, so it's localized to the Gastonia area, but not a great situation for folks headed into the Charlotte area either. I-85 south between Beatties Ford Road and Brookshire Boulevard. This is a new crash within this hour, also creating issues for folks who are taking the I-77 interchange there. And then going up in this direction to the southeast, or excuse me, the northeast, I-485 inner loop at North Tryon Street. And then going up north, Old Statesville Road between I-45 and Alexanderana Road. So a lot going on this morning. Just stay with us. Here are your travel times into Charlotte.
All right, Destiny, thanks. So this morning, neighbors in Waxhaw are seeking solutions to the town's boom and development.
Well, growth is good. Neighbors say the town is putting developers ahead of the people who live there. WCNC Charlotte's Walker Lawson has the details.
Good evening, guys. That's right. The town has 4,700 residential units on their website under developer projects. And residents here say that's way too much.
We are asking
for a slowdown. We understand growth comes, right? This is a desirable area.
Currently, 2 projects are up for discussion in the town. First is Views at Olivia, a mixed-use community with 315 multifamily housing units, and South Point. That would bring 134 townhomes and 252 single-family homes.
There's no logical reason, any reason for them to be voting any of this stuff in.
Residents say their concerns are being ignored.
And it's unfortunate that developers come first and the residents come last. We're showing up. No one is showing up in favor of these high-density developments. No one. And yet they keep voting them through.
And it's not just residents. One commissioner is voicing frustration, too.
I just think we have an overabundance of residential units already approved, and so we should be very careful about approving more because it consumes precious wastewater resources. It creates pressure for higher taxes in the future. But I think that because the developers know that they have a majority on the board who are willing to push everything through, they keep coming with projects.
South Point developers will have a community meeting on Monday, September 8th. The town is also expected to vote on the Olivia project later this month. Reporting in Waxhaw, Walker Lawson, WCNC Charlotte.
A heads up for those who use the rail trail. Starting Monday, a section near Newbern Station is going to close for drainage work. The closure runs between Poindexter Drive and Newbern Street. Expected to last about 4 months. CAT says detours will be marked and the Blue Line service will not be impacted. Keep it right here. Details on a local musician's effort to help kids with sickle cell disease.
Approaching 7:41, if your CMS student had trouble doing their homework last night, they weren't alone. The district released a statement explaining there is a problem with the school filtering system when devices are off the CMS network. That means students could have a problem connecting to the internet outside of school. The district says it's working with the vendor to fix the issue. We've reached out to the vendor as well to see just how widespread this problem is. We have yet to hear back.
I hear that your daughter Reagan tried to point this out to you last night.
She did. I was engaged in a conversation with my friend on the phone, and she kept coming in. It's not working on the Chromebook, and I'm like, sure it is. It's not connected. I'm like, Reagan, it's connected. Sure enough, it was an issue. And I was like, oopsies.
You're one of many families out there.
For sure.
All right. Well, in South Carolina, Fort Mill students once again leading the state in academic achievement. New test scores from the Department of Education show the district outperformed the state average in every single subject, often by wide margins. With more than 82% proficiency in English, Fort Mill ranked among the top districts statewide.
One Charlotte man is using the power of music to touch lives of those with sickle cell disease. WCNC Charlotte Siobhan Riley explains the message behind his song and why he's using his platform to encourage more people to donate blood.
You're enough. It's a song with a message of hope. And anybody with sickle cell or any other chronic illness, I'd say they need to understand that if you're feeling pain, you're not going through any of that alone.
I guarantee that you'll see better days.
Jaquan Starnes is singing about his cousin Naya Lindsay, who was born with sickle cell, a blood disorder Lindsay says also takes a toll on her mental health.
It's a very impactful song because, you know, so many people go through, battles with mental health.
For years, the hospital became Lindsay's second home, but blood donations mean less hospital time.
I get around 8 bags a month of blood, so it really has changed my life.
You're enough.
The song holds a special significance for Lindsay. She helped create it.
You're enough.
Yeah, I was just making that beat one day and he heard it. He just started writing to it and he came up with "You're enough."
You're enough, you're enough, you're enough.
It's since gone viral. Starnes, who's also a sickle cell ambassador, wrote the song because he wanted more people to donate, especially in underrepresented communities.
So once I learned the battle with them struggling to find donors, especially in African Americans, I thought, well, we got to do something about it.
According to the National Institutes of Health, less than 3% of African Americans are blood donors.
Keep running. Whenever life knocks you down, God is up to something.
Lindsay and Starnes hope their song inspires others to think about the lives they can save by giving the ultimate gift.
But I think if they understood the why behind donating your blood, it could save somebody's life.
You being alive is simply enough. Yeah.
In Charlotte, Siobhan Riley, WCNC Charlotte.
We're back here in 2 minutes with a breakdown of hurricane predictions in today's Weather IQ.
peak of hurricane season is officially 1 week away, and things are already starting to ramp up again.
But as the tropics get busier, meteorologist Chris Mulcahy is raising our weather IQ on how forecasters prepare you for any incoming storms.
Hurricanes can bring it all, from devastating winds, storm surge, flooding rain, tornadoes, and more. So forecasting where these monster storms are going and how strong they are is pivotal. Here's how we do it. Let's raise that weather IQ. Meet the spaghetti plot. Those colorful, tangled lines that look like pasta on your weather app, well, each line represents a different computer model's prediction of the hurricane's path, pressure, or wind patterns. When these lines cluster together, us forecasters start to gain confidence. This is where the forecast cone comes into play. This is also known as the cone of uncertainty, which means the center of the storm has a 70% chance of staying within this cone. But further into the future, the cone widens because even a degree direction change can be a huge difference 5 to 7 days out. When we have an active tropical storm or hurricane, the best tool we have are the hurricane hunters. Hurricane hunters fly directly into the eye of the storm, deploying drop sondes, which are high-tech weather instruments that parachute down through the hurricane, measuring temperature, humidity, pressure, wind speed every second. This real-time data from inside the storm helps calibrate the spaghetti plots that we were talking about earlier. Satellite data. This shows the big picture, allowing us to track any storm in great detail, revealing changes in direction, the eye wall structure, and if a storm is intensifying or not. These 4 core things, with hundreds of other weather models and parameters, allow us in the National Hurricane Center to predict hurricanes better than we ever have before. Over the past 2 decades, our track errors have decreased by 75%, with the 4 to 5 day errors decreasing by 60%. I'm meteorologist Chris Mulcahy with another Weather IQ.
How about that?
Great to know.
Yeah, things are getting so much better with it, but of course a lot can change.
Yes.
If you have watched anything about the new Hurricane Katrina documentaries, they have on Netflix. We did one as well. There was a point that it was supposed to be much further east, but then that last minute track change realized that New Orleans was in for a much bigger storm than they anticipated. Meanwhile, Helene was actually tracked to do exactly what it was going to do about 5 days in advance. It's just that sometimes at this point, people are used to them changing. The track is getting much better, especially 4 to 5 days out.
And no matter how good you guys are, and no matter how much better the technology gets, it doesn't change the storm. I mean, like you know, the storm is going to be the storm, and no matter how much heads up we have,
this is true.
It's not going to help.
And you can say numbers, you can say this tall a storm surge, this strength of the winds, until you actually see the damage. People are always going to be shocked about what it could actually do. And it usually only just takes one. And I hope that this year we don't have one, but that hasn't been the case in recent years. So let's just get right into it. For one, from August 1st to November 30th, to the back end of the season, is 87% of all hurricanes form. So we're right in the heart of that. Officially, that little top, that spike, that is September 10th. September 10th, so a week from today, is the exact peak of hurricane season. Doesn't mean they're not going to see a lot more after that. Now, I want to get right over to one thing I didn't really get to mention in this Weather IQ, and that is what else goes into even making a hurricane. So if you can have all the fancy data, hurricane hunters and such, you still need these 4 things in order for a hurricane to form. For one, you need a pre-existing weather pattern, some sort of tropical wave. Water temperatures need to be 80 degrees plus and down to 150 feet, because it's something that's called upwelling, where a storm is so strong that it literally takes the depths of water well below 150 feet and moves them to the surface, which can make it cooler and then hence also start to weaken the storm as well. You also need a low wind shear environment. So that means no changing wind speed and direction with height. That'll actually cut into the formation of the storm. And lastly, you need a lot of tropical moisture. Usually earlier in the season, especially June to July, you have a lot of Saharan dust that works its way into the storm. That inhibits a lot of activity. We don't really have that this time of year. So up next for us, we have Gabrielle, Umberto, Imelda, Jerry, and Karen. I hope Karen's not a big deal or else the internet is going to go crazy. But right now we have one wave that we're watching. Now, anything like this little wave that you're seeing here off the coast, low pressure systems, is always going to be worth monitoring, especially when they're right down here. But this wave specifically, over the next 7 days, will have a chance of turning into a tropical depression, then tropical storm, and even Hurricane Gabrielle. Now, it's likely not until after this cone, so about 8 to 14 days out, is where it's getting a little bit close to the United States. The general flow is guiding this back out to sea, but just some quick Gabrielle stats, because our nameless those cycles each and every year. We've had multiple Gabrielles, actually 6 in history, but the 1989 one is actually making the exact same path, and some of the long-range models are bringing this right past and east of Bermuda. I'm hoping this is the case in scenario because that would be the least impacts for all of us. Real quick for our forecast, we're going to see a big change about how we feel. That humid air is coming back in action. We don't really have any super tropical air that's moving in, but it's certainly going to notice the difference. And then once a cold front moves in, that's going to allow for our highest chance for rain and storms on Saturday and Saturday night. But in the near term, we have active rain in the mountains and the foothills, and we are expecting a line of showers and storms, mainly in our western viewing area in the western Carolinas, heading into the early afternoon. But what's going to happen is that as this line pushes its way off towards the east, it's going to fade out. So really anywhere between Lincolnton and Charlotte, you're seeing potentially a heavy downpour move over to nothing. And then once you get closer to Monroe, that line is gone. So that's why it's really the further west that you go is a better chance for rain today. Tomorrow, anything goes. An isolated thunderstorm would be a possibility, especially for areas north of I-40, but not a guarantee that we're going to see rain. So that's why, again, Friday's going to be dry. Saturday, when that front arrives, that is going to be your highest chance for a shower or a thunderstorm to push in the area, and that's one that we're going to be watching closely. Actually, over the next half hour, just right to start, I'm going to look at the long-range models showing you exactly what your weekend's looking like, helping you plan it out. In the near term, let's see how our traffic is looking at the end of the 7 o'clock hour with Destiny.
Yeah, right now traffic is moving nice on I-85 near Belmont, but that is definitely not the case about 10 miles in the other direction this morning. I-85 is definitely dealing with some issues closer to Gastonia this morning. We have some images from Gastonia PD of this accident. It's a bit of a stretched image, but you can see a flipped vehicle here on the northbound side. This is around exit 17, so the North Chester Street exit. At one point, all the lanes were shut down on the northbound side. Then they had 2 lanes closed, and I believe at last check, just the right lane is closed right now, so traffic should be moving very slowly. But it's still an active scene right now. Again, I-85 north between US 321 and NC 7 this morning. Right lane closed this morning at the accident site. So hopefully things improve very soon. But here are also some of our latest accidents. I-85 southbound between Beatties Ford Road and Brookshire Boulevard. Lots of traffic buildup right here near the I-77 interchange as well on I-85. And then going out to the northeast this morning, I-45 Interloop at North Tryon Street, and then going north, also kind of near the loop here, Old Statesville Road between I-45 and Alexanderana Road. So just looking at a wide overview of the area this morning, lots of red on our interstates, but hopefully some of these crashes clear up soon. It's definitely that peak part of the morning when people are headed into work. Here are your AM drive times into the Charlotte area.
Things happening today. More than 20 World War II veterans are taking their final Soaring Valor flight today from Charlotte to New Orleans. Since 2015, the Gary Sinise Foundation and partners have flown vets to the National World War II Museum. This will be the last group charter flight as fewer vets can now travel, but some individual trips will continue. Students from Ambassador Christian School will join the vets for a heartfelt send-off at Charlotte Douglas this morning at 11.
Just about 5 minutes till the top of the hour here on WCNC Plus. Live pictures right now over Uptown. We're back after this.
Well, good morning, everybody. Temperature is 83 degrees, sitting pretty right now. We are dealing with more clouds than yesterday, but still looks really great. It doesn't feel too bad either. It's really tomorrow that it starts feeling a lot more humid, especially on Friday. But let's go through your rain chances. The further east you go, the less rain. Further west, more rain. Plain and simple. Here's noon, and at that point, I think we see a chain of showers and storms. Right around in the Hickory, Lincolnton, and Shelby at 2 to 4, we see a decaying line of storms. This means that it's weakening. So once it gets along the I-77 corridor through Charlotte, by about 4 o'clock, there is a slight chance for a shower, but it should be pretty minimal. And then by about 6 o'clock, these are now passing on. So good news there. 7-day forecast, warming on up into the mid to the upper 80s, feeling it on Thursday with a slight chance for an isolated storm. Dry on Friday at 92, chance for storms, and 91 on Saturday. Destiny, take it away. What's going on?
Yeah, this morning it's very busy out there. We do have an active crash in Gastonia at exit 17. These are some images from Gastonia PD. One here on the northbound side. This is at Chester Street exit 17, and then another picture there of the active scene. So this has the right lane closed at this time. At one point, all the lanes were closed just to clear the accident up, and then now just one lane is closed this morning. So it's a pretty busy morning just across the map. Here's a look at your drive times. Join us on WCNC Plus.
Streaming live right now at 8 a.m. on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington. Almost a year after Hurricane Helene devastated the mountains of western North Carolina, killing 108 people, the historic storm has forced emergency managers to take a hard look at how they can better protect the public in the future.
WCNC Charlotte's Nate Morbido found inconsistent, inadequate, in some cases non-existent efforts to evacuate those at risk leading up to and during the storm.
Some local governments issued voluntary evacuations. Others made them mandatory. Some didn't evacuate anyone. Cell service problems and power outages also created issues for phone and internet service, which is why at least one county wants to buy emergency sirens.
They got all the trees planted today, Cynthia.
Under a blanket of clouds,
You silly frog.
two sisters
We prayed every night and thank God that we pulled through this.
share an unbreakable bond.
In a split second, it just swooshed. It took everything with it.
Neighbors call them the Mattress Sisters.
I just for some reason, shoved her on the bed, and then away we went.
Their story of survival, clinging to a mattress during Helene,
It was literally like being torpedoed.
is so unbelievable.
I MacGyvered everything. Anything that floated by, I grabbed.
Jackie Fenstermacher and Cynthia Dunn are convinced
We were holding on to each other, and the little dog was in the middle of us.
the only reasons they're alive today
If you fell off, you were gone.
are because of their faith and each other.
The water was pulling me down, and so she held on to me for about 45 minutes.
All we had on was our nightgowns, and they were ripped to shreds.
The sisters say it took 2 days for rescue crews to eventually find them downstream in a pile of debris.
And the Chinook helicopter got us.
But leading up to the flood,
No horns, no warning.
the two say the storm completely caught them off guard.
The power went off at 3, and we're like, well, now what?
That is not a position any person should find themselves in during a disaster, according to Joshua Baer.
We tend to really underestimate that risk. And the estimation of that risk is conditioned somewhat by the messaging we receive.
The Old Dominion University professor is an expert on evacuation behavior.
It was actually devastating to our family.
And knows firsthand what's at stake. His father-in-law died during Hurricane Katrina after refusing to evacuate.
Messaging that's broad and general, hey, you ought to get out, doesn't have the impact of tailored specific messaging.
Baer says it's critical we learn from every disaster, ensuring emergency managers always communicate the true risk and make sure those warnings are received.
That door-to-door, I believe, really did save lives.
In Buncombe County, where 43 people died, County Manager Avril Pinder said firefighters knocked on doors and convinced many people to leave before the county eventually issued mandatory evacuations by way of phone alerts.
We did try our best to get as much messages out in different mediums.
But Helene, with its widespread power outages, also exposed communication gaps.
One of the things that we've learned is we need to be a little bit more prepared.
As a result, Buncombe County has requested almost $12 million from the state to buy 71 sirens and 33 stream gauges. If approved, they'll better warn of impending danger along 10 creeks and rivers.
It's very easy to get severely depressed when you come out here.
Including the creek turned rushing river that destroyed Jackie Fenstermacher and Cynthia Dunn's home.
It was just devastating.
Mass notification systems might have spared the sisters from near death.
And I would have left.
And potentially saved the lives of many others who lived nearby. Nate Morabito, WCNC Charlotte.
And thanks a lot for that story, Nate. Really well done. And I'm really happy to say that we don't have any sort of scenarios in the forecast in the near term like that. But you just never know how quickly things can turn, especially this time of year. A tropical system can develop in the Gulf, and the next thing you know, we could have a big time change by the back end of the forecast. So something that we always have to watch for. Meanwhile, the only thing that's really watch worthy, I think, is really going to be Saturday. A cold front driving into a hot and humid day. Do have a chance for some strong storms for the first time in weeks. Also, today, it depends where you are. We're seeing a lot more clouds over Charlotte, and then meanwhile, Monroe, absolutely gorgeous. So I think today is just really going to be a changing sky. At times, it could be a little bit brighter, as you see in Monroe, and at times it could be anywhere from mostly cloudy to overcast skies, depending if you're getting some rain. But not everyone's going to see rain today. Current temperature is 64 right now, so we're warming up from the upper 50s yet again. 58 degrees for you in Lincolnton. Temperature's not moving too much with a thicker cloud cover over Morganton and Hickory, and then 56 for you around Boone. Our dogs of the day today, by the way, are Charlie and Addie. Good to have you. One's a Pomeranian, one is a Pomsky. Ed and Jan, thank you so much for sending these two adorable pups. Temperature is getting right around 80 degrees. You know we like to turn it up right here on WCNC Plus. Here's the music. Thank you a lot, Cody, our director, for ramping up this forecast. Let's do this. Charlie and Addie, as you are out and about walking around, we're looking at a decent amount of sunshine with a mixed cloud and sunshine later on, likely staying dry here in Charlotte. Always appreciate you, Cody. That was a nice little pick-me-up. Presto changeo, bingo bango, what you can expect for today. Cloud cover more, moisture more. Temperatures about 2 to 3 degrees warmer, and then we're going to continue to see all the above increase exception the cloud cover. I think you can have a nice mix of cloud and sunshine each day, at times sunnier, at times cloudier, just constantly changing. 83 today, that's 2 degrees warmer than what we had yesterday, and then a decent day overall. By the late evening, 71 still holding true. true, and then we'll drop down in the lower 60s overnight tonight. So here's the rain that I'm talking about. We are actively seeing a little bit of light rain across the mountains right now. I would say over the next few hours, you're going to continue to see the same trend. So north of I-40 could potentially see that, but the main batch of rain and storms will pass over the mountains, and it's going to start to fall apart. So I think by about 2 o'clock, you are going to see a little cluster from Cleveland County up to Lincoln County, so pretty much along 321, where Gastonia, you have a better chance for rain and storms compared to Charlotte, because look what happens. By about 4 o'clock, we are quickly eroding this line. So it gets pretty weak. It weakens hour by hour. So there's a good chance if you live east of I-77, you don't really see anything at all. And the further west you go, a better chance for a storm. Tomorrow's a little bit more iffy. I think it's a mixed cloud and sunshine again. At times it's sunny, at times it's cloudier. But then you have an on and off shower and a storm. Still a better chance right along the I-40 corridor, but a better chance for all of us by the evening. But nothing really stands out from all the rest like the rain chance that we have on Saturday. So that's going to be a front that pushes past the area. When it's hot and humid, especially in the lower to the mid 90s as far as our real feel, that's prime storm fuel. So I think that's our best chance for just heavy rain and thunderstorms in general. No designated risk at this point, but we'll see how that looks for day 3 of the forecast tomorrow. And then once that front clears, highs only reaching 80 degrees on Sunday, and then either side of 80 degrees through the middle of next week. So pretty much fall to summer to fall within a 7-day period. Not too bad. Hopefully we're saying it's not too bad for traffic, but I've seen some of the images that Destiny's been showing.
Yeah, definitely. I have been busy over here just updating these traffic maps, and we can see right now that traffic is moving smoothly on I-85 near Belmont, but about 10 miles towards Gastonia this morning, it is not that story on the northbound side. So we have this image from Gastonia police showing the situation a little while ago at exit 17, which is the North Chester Street US 321 exit this morning. At one point, all the lanes were shut down. Then it was 2 lanes, and now 1 lane is open. So 1 lane opened at exit 17 where this crash took place this morning. But the backups go all the way back, even beyond Gastonia this morning before you get into the Charlotte area. So west of Gastonia is what I meant. Okay, so going into the Charlotte area, these are our other 2 accidents. I-85 southbound between Beatties Ford Road and Brookshire Boulevard. Right now, the left lane is closed at the Beatties Ford Road exit. And as you can see, this is not a great situation for folks wanting to interchange from I-77 onto I-85. So just lots of red for stop and go traffic in this area. This is a fairly new crash, I-85 southbound near Sugar Creek Road. Left lane is closed at Sugar Creek Road. So these are our top 3 right now. As you can look across the map, it's just a lot of congestion, a lot of backups going on. So just make sure to give yourself plenty of time no matter where you're going. Another look at the AM drive times, because I feel like this helps everyone out depending on where you're coming into the Charlotte area. But this morning, we really do have a lot of issues going on. So you just want to make sure you give yourself plenty of time. Gastonia, 43 minutes getting to this area. Yesterday, it got all the way to like 65 minutes. Matthews 30, Belmont 28, Salisbury 69.
All right, Dusty, thanks. Looking ahead, starting Monday, part of the rail trail near the Newbern Station will be temporarily closed for a drainage project. Cat says only one side of the trail will be closed at a time. The project expected to take about 4 months. Here's a look at where we're talking about on the map. It should not impact any Blue Line operations.
We'll keep it right here. We're going to be right back with a live report on what we're learning from transit officials as city leaders prepare to tackle safety concerns. Destructive storms like Hurricane Helene is one of the reasons that September is National Preparedness Month.
And joining us this morning to talk about keeping your family safe during natural disasters is Chief Robert Graham with the Charlotte Fire Department. He specializes in emergency management. Chief, good to talk to you. Thanks for coming on. We appreciate it.
Good morning. I was listening to the traffic report, and it might be a disaster this morning, it sounded like.
I think it might qualify as a disaster. I think you're right there. You know, and speaking of, let's start broadly. When we say natural disaster, traffic aside, what are we talking about there? What all falls under that category?
Well, when we talk about disasters, we talk about all disasters. So whether it's human-made or natural. And so a disaster or a major emergency is anything that stretches our resources, but also tends to cause disruption in our community. And we have a lot of those if you think about it. Some of them are very short-lived. It might be a severe thunderstorm in the Charlotte region or localized flooding. But then we also have Hurricane Hugo that hit in 1989, or we have something like the pipeline shutdown, Colonial Pipeline shutdown that can cause problems or disruptions. And so anything that disrupts normal life is really when emergency management kicks in, and our job is to coordinate all the resources within our community and work with the state and federal officials.
So, Chief, there are people who are watching this and they are saying, you know, I've lived in this area all my life. I mean, I remember Hurricane Hugo as a little girl. You know, I've seen the thunderstorms, I've seen the flooding. What do you say to those people? What do they need to do to be prepared for a natural disaster?
Well, humans are very resilient, and we're certainly resilient as Americans. And so we tend to like handle something and move on. But we also tend to think it'll never happen to us. And personally, I'm from Hendersonville, North Carolina, is where I was born and raised. And we've seen a number of storms, and Helene did major devastation in the mountains. Hugo did significant devastation in Charlotte. It was a Category 1 when it came through. And if it has happened in the past, there is a 100% chance it will happen in the future. We just don't know when. And so things that catch us off guard are the things that are really the largest things that we're worried about. We just had our 20th anniversary of Katrina, and I was in Mississippi for Katrina. And the folks down there, of course, the number one thing is they didn't have water, they needed food. They were safety and security was an issue down there, and really as we worked to evacuate them. And so what we want people to do is to be prepared and have a plan, but don't always rely on the government, because the government is going to be stretched very thin as far as resources, and it takes us time to get resources into place to handle a major disaster like that. And Helene was a good example of that. My family was without power for 14 days. So if you imagine our folks here in Mecklenburg County without power for 14 days, that would be a major disruption. When Hugo happened in 1989, the city of Charlotte was probably around 430,000 people. Today, we're pushing 1 million people. And so a lot of people here don't remember that and don't really understand the threats or the risks. In a typical year, we might have 1 or 2 tropical systems that can affect Charlotte. If you remember, Florence was a major storm, and we watched it for over a week, and it did significant damage throughout North Carolina, not necessarily here in Charlotte. However, that same year we had Hurricane Michael, and it did major damage inside the city of Charlotte, but it was a very short-lived storm. So it hit in the morning, and by 6 o'clock we were watching the evening news. But we were stretched thin as far as our resources here in Charlotte.
You say folks can't just rely on government and government alone, which we've seen, but also I'm sure you want to reassure people. What do officers like yours, when it comes to emergency management, what do you all do to prepare for these natural disasters?
Oh, absolutely. So we communicate, and we communicate all the time with everybody. And so our job in emergency management is basically we cut all the organizational charts and all the bureaucracy of government, the city and the county, and we bring key decision makers here to the Emergency Operations Center to act quickly to bring our resources to bear. But we also push information as if we can see something that's going to affect Charlotte in the near future, we're pushing out that information, having those meetings, having the briefings, and making sure that all of our government is ready to respond.
So then I would ask, what are the steps that people need to take to contact your offices to make sure that they are staying informed about what is actually going on? Obviously, you know, it can be overwhelming for both you guys as well as for all of us who are being affected by these storms.
Right. So as I said before, our communications, we over communicate. And so we're on all platforms. We're on all social media platforms. We push out press releases. We meet with our press. But we also encourage people to sign up for SHARMEC alerts at sharmecalerts.org. And there's two types of this. So one is a wireless emergency alert, so we can push to everybody's phones in the event of a major emergency. But SHARMEC alerts, it allows you to sign up for notifications that you're opting into to get from Charlotte Mecklenburg Emergency Management, but also from the National Weather Service. So you can get weather updates from National Weather Service on your phones. We want people to stay informed. We want you to have at least 3 different ways of getting information. But most importantly, I always cover this, make sure that your friends and family are aware of significant events that are getting ready to occur. So if we have major weather that's getting ready to push into Charlotte, we want people to know that. And we want, not only do we want you to know it, but we want your parents to know it, we want your children to know it, and we want your neighbors to know it. And after a storm, we want to make sure that we are checking on our neighbors, because we are a community and we want to make sure that we're taking care of our own neighbors. But be prepared. Make your emergency kit. And emergency kits come in a lot of different ways, but start to have non-perishable items such as bottled water, food, etc., a light source, extra medication. There's a whole long list that you can get from FEMA's website or from other websites, to be honest, and start to build that and put that aside so that you're not a burden on the emergency services. 1 million people is a lot of folks to take care of, and obviously it takes time to do that. So we're coming. It's just that we want to make sure that if you can take care of yourself first, that you're able to do that, and most importantly, that you're prepared to take care of your neighbors. And so really that's what we're pushing.
Yeah, we see that time and time again. Neighbors helping neighbors is perhaps the strongest thing that can happen.
Yeah.
All of this very timely information as we enter the peak of hurricane season, and of course as we move towards the anniversary of Hurricane Helene. All right, Chief Robert Graham. Chief, thanks for coming on.
Thanks
we appreciate
so much.
it.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Well, in just under an hour, Charlotte's mayor is calling a special meeting with transit leaders to address safety on the light rail. Of course, it comes nearly 2 weeks after a woman was stabbed to death.
And now a new revelation in that case. Cats now saying the accused killer had no business being on that train because he didn't have a ticket. WCNC Charlotte's Bria Smith is live this morning with the very latest. Bria.
Yes, that is right. In less than an hour, we will hear from those city leaders who will address how they plan to tackle transit safety. Now, since the beginning of this year, at least 40 incidents have taken place on or within CATS. The latest victim story, Irina Zarutska, ending in a deadly stabbing, has left not only members in the community more cautious, but advocates looking to city leaders and the judicial system for answers. Some we've spoken with are concerned with the release of criminals after showing violence repeatedly. At Tuesday night's city council meeting, city leaders discussed a potential problem in passengers rightfully boarding the train.
One, none of those mechanisms were utilized. That's a problem. Two, it doesn't seem like there was a clear way to say this might be a problem. Whether it's a problem or not, we're not even tracking that an individual climbed on board and did not pay.
Again, that special meeting is open to the public, and coming up at 11:30, we'll have more details for you from inside. Back to you guys.
Of course, we'll also have coverage all day long here on WCNC Plus as it happens.
That's right. We're going to take a quick break, but we'll be right back with an update on your morning commute here on WCNC Plus.
Good morning, everyone. It is 8:23 here on WCNC Plus. Thank you for joining us. We are talking all about I-85 this morning because there have been so many accidents here, but thankfully at least one has cleared. Another accident in Gastonia, it has moved to the shoulder. So things are starting to improve. We are turning a corner here as we approach 8:30. This is I-85 near Belmont this morning. Traffic moving smoothly here. We do have a new crash to talk about though, crash in the left turning lane at Billy Graham Parkway at South Tryon Street. This is where it transitions over into Woodlawn, and then the left turning lane as you're trying to go to northbound Tryon Street, that lane is closed. So we have that this morning. Wanted to get through that since we had an image of it. But talking about I-85 northbound now, shoulder blocked at exit 17. This is what we've been talking about all morning. And then we do still have backups here. So if you're headed from, say, Kings Mountain into Gastonia, going all the way to Charlotte, thankfully not a whole lot of issues here, but we do still have backups, even though that has moved over into the shoulder. We also have an accident on I-85 southbound near Sugar Creek Road, left lane closed at exit 41. We'll be right back after this break.
Well, good morning, everybody. Here's what's going on. We have a beautiful sky to start off the day. Slight chance for a little bit of rain later on, but it's mainly going to be further up towards west. Dew point is a higher point than it has been over the last couple of days. We are looking at a little bit of rain off towards the west, really from anywhere around Alexander County, around Taylorsville. You've been seeing some grayer skies over to the mountains along the Tennessee border, but that rain will push its way further off towards the east, but a lot of it fading out once it gets to the Charlotte area. Once that gets a little bit closer, we will be anticipating a chance for a few more clouds. So especially if you live west of I-77, you're going to have a decent shot at that. For our extended forecast, we can anticipate those temperatures to really ramp up back to the lower 90s Friday, Saturday. Good chance for storms on Saturday. Destiny got a lot of going on, so take it away.
Yeah, we're looking at I-77 northbound to start off. This is near the Woodlawn Road exit this morning. Things moving smoothly, just a little bit slower than normal, but it's all good. This morning we do have a crash on Billy Graham Parkway at South Tryon Street. Not going to affect people getting onto I-77, but it will affect you if you're trying to turn left onto northbound Tryon. The left turn lane is closed there. We do also have a crash affecting traffic near Gastonia, I-85 northbound at exit 17. The shoulder is blocked, so it is improving. That's good news. And then over in Northeast Charlotte, I-85 southbound near Sugar Creek Road, the left lane is closed at exit 41. Drive safely out there.
Thanks for joining us live on WCNC Plus at 8:30. I'm Lisa Washington.
And I'm Ben Thompson. A piece of Charlotte's Black history left in limbo for so many years could finally have a new chapter. The Excelsior Club was once a vibrant hub for music, politics, and Black culture. Now a team of developers is creating a new vision for the site there on Beatties Ford Road.
WCNC Charlotte's Tradisha Woodard shows us how they plan to bring the historic landmark back to life.
For years, Charlotte's historic Excelsior Club has been quiet, but with talks of new plans, there's a chance that silence may finally be broken. Since closing its doors back in 2016, the Excelsior Club sits in the shadows, weathered bricks, peeling paint, and silence where music once roared.
So our goal, too, is to create a catalyst for development on Beatties Ford Road.
But new plans could change that, unveiling early ideas to redevelop the site.
We proposed one building, 2 stories, 2,500 square feet roughly in the first floor, about 1,200 square feet on the second floor.
These are some of the designs, with the total cost of the development coming with a $7.8 million price tag. They say the site will feature a new museum, live performances by local artists, and second chance hiring for individuals facing employment barriers.
We will give people a chance to come in that want to be hired at other places and learn how to work in a restaurant building.
They say the facility will also be a place committed to community engagement, including economic stability and healthy eating choices.
The thing about finding food on the corridor, there's not a lot of options. You have a lot of hamburger joints, you got a lot of fried chicken, but we will also offer healthy options. And then after 6 o'clock, you can forget it. There is really nowhere to sit down and eat on Beatties Ford Road after 6 o'clock. This will be an establishment where you can find a meal and entertainment.
If the designs get the green light, developers are hoping to break ground as soon as the second quarter of 2028. Back to you.
Well, good morning, everybody. Here is your 7-day forecast. We'll start it off with this right away. 83, 87 into the lower 90s. That's pretty much where we're headed, and that's going to be the main name of the game. But then it's really going to be interesting what we do in the long term, because once you get to Saturday, there is really kind of an even split. There's either one of two scenarios. Either one, you have a quick moving front that moves through, giving us a chance for thunderstorms mid to late afternoon, and then that's going to be out of here, allowing for us to be drier on Sunday. We cool down, no big deal. The other scenario is that front stalls out, and that's going to keep prolonged rain chances. As of right now, we're going for scenario one, that, hey, you're just going to have a front pass through, maybe a lingering rain shower on Sunday, but then we cool way down, and we're going to be feeling great as well. Meanwhile, you're also going to be seeing our mugginess really come up. Our dew points over the last few days have been in the 50s. That's great. Once it gets close to 60 plus, you're starting to really feel the difference overall. And once you get to the mid 60s, it's really humid. And that's exactly where we're at Friday and Saturday. That's not unusual for this time of year, but what's more unusual is constantly dropping down into the 40s for our dew points, which yet again looks to be the continued trend. So some really good news there. High temperatures, here they are. You're only looking at 83 degrees for today, as I mentioned, mixed of clouds and sunshine. So it's a changing sky, but the further west you go, better chance for showers and thunderstorms. So let's get through this futurecast, comb through as much detail as we potentially can. You're going to see a little line of showers and storms. It's actually very active over in Tennessee right now, but what will happen, and this happens all the time, is when a line of storms or storm system rides over the mountains, sometimes it can drive into some more stable air, and that's exactly what we have here a little bit close to the Charlotte area. It's a little bit more humid further off towards the west, and once it gets closer to Charlotte, notice that line, it almost disappears. So there's a good chance that if you live along the I-77 corridor or further east around Concord, Harrisburg, you won't see the rain. Meanwhile, you could see rain around Lincoln and Gastonia about the middle of the afternoon. So I just want everyone to keep in mind, I'm still keeping the 20% chance for rain around the Charlotte area today, but I think most of that activity is going to be off towards the west. But don't be surprised if you have a quick passing shower. Shouldn't last too long, but the further west you live, better chance for a stronger shower or thunderstorm. By tomorrow, I think we start off with a nice mix of cloud and sunshine, pretty decent day, but then we'll see more clouds for the afternoon with a chance for a few isolated storms early to mid-afternoon, better chance for storms to slide through during the evening, but this isn't a surefire bet, only about a 20% chance. It's really not until you get to about Saturday that we're really calling for a much better potential for that more widespread rain. Friday, by the way, is going to be completely dry, even one of the sunnier days that we have this week, but signs of rain already showing on Saturday morning, but I think it's mainly a Saturday afternoon event that we're seeing. So for our rainfall chances, kept it as just an isolated chance today and tomorrow. No rain whatsoever on Friday, scattered on Saturday, and there's a chance that these values values come back down to zero, there's just still a little bit of uncertainty about how long that front is going to linger. I'm actually going to show you your extended surface map showing exactly what I'm talking about here for my next time I'm up here talking about weather, but we have to get to the main event. Sometimes traffic supplants weather as far as the big story, and that's certainly the case this morning. Destiny?
We're looking at I-77 northbound near Woodlawn Road, the Woodlawn Road exit. And this morning we have stop and go traffic on the northbound side. Traffic moving slowly on southbound, but not quite the same this morning. And that is just the story across I-77, not just leaving uptown this morning, but also if you're going northbound from South Carolina into the South Charlotte area. Let's go into some of our crashes this morning. Right now, we have I-85 northbound between exit 17 and exit 19. The shoulder is blocked, so this has been a main story of most of the morning, but thankfully it is in the shoulder, meaning that it should be resolved soon for folks headed through Gastonia. We do have some cleared crashes though, but still some backups in the area. I-85 southbound near Sugar Creek Road, although I did see a new accident on the map at exit 45, which is W.T. Harris on I-85. So we'll talk about that later, but another cleared crash, I-85 southbound at Beatty's Ford Road. So we have some improvements this morning. New accident, Independence Boulevard west at I-277, and then also down near Billy Graham Parkway where it turns into Woodlawn Road. You'll have some issues turning left to go northbound on Tryon Street because the left turn lane is closed due to an accident this morning. Here are your drive times as of 8:36.
All right, Dusty, thanks. Folks in Hickory can expect to see more officers out on the road, specifically Falling Creek Road, as police begin their traffic enforcement plan for the month. As part of the Pay Attention in City Traffic Initiative, officers are going to be watching out for distracted and speeding drivers, drivers who follow too closely, and any other violations. Drivers are reminded to stay alert and watch out for pedestrians and cyclists.
Well, check this out, a live look. This is Lincoln Field in Philadelphia. The NFL season, of course, kicks off tomorrow. And as we get closer, we are celebrating with a countdown to kickoff special. It's going to feature some one-on-one interviews with Panther stars like Derek Brown and J.C. Horn, along with the story behind the couple who designs the team's cleats. Join our sports team tonight at 9 right here on WCNC Plus, as well as WCNC Charlotte for that special. Well, stay with us here on WCNC Plus. Up next, survivors of Jeffrey Epstein are speaking out on Capitol Hill. We're back in just 2 minutes. Turning now to some stories from across the country. President Trump says National Guard troops will be heading to Chicago. Last night, the president said those troops will be going to combat crime in the city, but he didn't say when. The president says this is not political, pointing to the 58 shootings in the city over Labor Day weekend that left 8 people dead. Chicago's mayor and the governor of Illinois, both Democrats, have repeatedly said they don't want the National Guard.
When you lose, look, I have an obligation. This isn't a political thing. I have an obligation.
We are ready to fight troop deployments in court, and we will do everything possible to ensure that agents operating inside the confines of this state do so in a legal and ethical manner.
The president's announcement comes the same day a federal judge ruled that Mr. Trump broke the law by sending in troops to Los Angeles.
8:41 right now here on WCNC Plus. And this morning, members of Congress from both sides of the aisle are pushing the Department of Justice to release all files related to Jeffrey Epstein, despite the Trump administration saying there's nothing new. It comes after survivors of the sex offender spent 2 days speaking with lawmakers. NBC's Alice Barr has more on the women and what justice years after their abuse would look like for them.
For young people using that power.
After years of suffering, 9 survivors or relatives of Jeffrey Epstein's sexual abuse finding strength in numbers.
Alone we are afraid, together we are feared.
Sitting down exclusively with NBC's Hallie Jackson.
How old were you? I was 14.
And standing up for their stories they believe have been sidelined in a political fight over the Epstein files, saying none of them has been contacted by the Department of Justice.
We haven't been protected and we haven't been informed.
The survivors meeting with lawmakers, raising the pressure for the Trump administration to release more documents and reopen the DOJ investigation.
There's been a severe miscarriage of justice, a delay in accountability.
On Tuesday, the House Oversight Committee released more than 30,000 pages of Epstein files subpoenaed from the Justice Department. Most of the material had already been made public. Now, a bipartisan-led petition aims to force a vote on releasing the full files.
We want to bring justice to every single person who was involved in the Epstein evils or the cover-up thereof, but we also want to be equally certain that we protect the innocent victims.
The survivors in this room pushing to maintain what accountability they have seen, urging President Trump to rule out a pardon for convicted co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell, angry over the attention she's received for her story and working to center theirs.
On the island.
Ghislaine Maxwell is serving a 20-year sex trafficking sentence and was moved to a lower security prison camp days after answering questions behind closed doors from a top Justice Department official. The White House says President Trump is not actively considering a Maxwell pardon, but he has not publicly ruled it out. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Rapper Cardi B leaving court smiling yesterday after a jury found her not liable for assault in a civil case. A former security guard was suing for $24 million, claiming the rapper hit, scratched, and spat on her at a Beverly Hills medical office back in 2018. Now, Cardi B was pregnant at the time, though she hadn't revealed it, and said the security guard tried to record her without her consent at the doctor's office. The jury sided with Cardi on all 4 counts, her team saying it was only a heated verbal fight.
It's about accountability. I had my day in court. I showed up. I held my head high, and I can walk away and say that I showed up, and she had to look me in the eye. I had to look her in the eye, and we did our best.
I'm not even playing around. I will, even if I'm in my deathbed, I swear to God, I will say it in my deathbed. I did not touch that woman. I did not touch that girl.
Cardi B says that she will countersue anyone who goes after her with a frivolous lawsuit.
Well, Saturday Night Live is shaking up its cast ahead of season 51. They are adding 5 new faces after 4 performers announced they won't be returning.
Among those new hires are viral TikTok comedians Veronica Slavokoska and Cam Patterson. Plus, Please Don't Destroy member Ben Marshall and Jeremy Colhane, as well as Tommy Brennan, both known for their sketch work, round out those additions. SNL's new season, season 51, kicks off on October 4th.
It's a notoriously tough job as far
It
as
is.
just the hours and the schedule they keep up. And I don't know what they get paid, but supposedly they don't get paid as much as you think they would.
This is true, but they tend to leave SNL and the sky's the limit.
Exactly. That's the real upside. All right, coming up, why kids are checking out more library books and bringing back cursive writing.
Well, good day, everybody. It's looking gorgeous, huh? Look at that. Nice mix of cloud and sunshine. Some areas dealing with a little bit sunnier sky, others dealing with some of those thicker clouds. And I think the clouds will get a little bit darker later on as we have our up rain chances. Today, a slight chance during the day, mainly west of I-77. Again, we have a Thursday, but it looks like the highest bars, best chance for scattered rain is Saturday and Saturday night. We're going to go through all the rain chances. Here it is. We have active rain in the mountains right along the Tennessee border right now and also around Taylorsville. That's the same thing that's going to happen over the next few hours. But we do have a mean line of storms of what looks like right around 2 o'clock just west of Cleveland County. But watch, once it gets to about 4 o'clock, and the timing of this has changed a little bit, we are still looking at a chance for a developing shower or so, but then it quickly erodes once you get a little bit closer to the 6 o'clock hour. So I think once it does pass Charlotte mid to late afternoon, a lot of it's dissipating. So continuing to get weaker and weaker the further west you go, really of 321, the heavier rain that you're going to see. For tomorrow, not too much goes on. You have a passing shower or two, slight chance for a storm, especially heading into the evening hours, and that's along the I-40 corridor. And then heading into your Friday, we're perfectly dry. But I want to show you your surface map. See that front? As that front is past the area, it should be positioned to the south on Sunday. I think it's really going to be late afternoon heading in the evening. This front is going to drive up some showers and storms. As it positions its way to the south, we have some lingering rain on Sunday and then just some leftover clouds heading into your Monday and Tuesday. The models are still all over the place, really deciding what all this is going to do. Just letting you know pretty much that Saturday is going to be your best chance for rain as long as that front does not stall out. 7-day forecast, lower 90s Friday, Saturday, back to fall-like weather, either side of 80 degrees Sunday and beyond. Let's get over to Destiny. What's going on?
Yeah, right now we have really heavy traffic moving on I-77 northbound and southbound between Uptown and I-485. So just be aware this morning that things are really congested in South Charlotte, south of Uptown on I-77. both directions. I-85 northbound, a little bit of congestion near Gastonia, but the good news I want to report right off the top is that this accident near the Chester Street exit 17, has completely cleared. You might still see a couple of residual backups from that accident, but things looking good. Right now, our only active crash on I-85 right now is up in Concord at George Lyles Parkway, exit 54. 2 lanes are closed there. Independence Boulevard west at I-277 have an active crash there near Uptown. And then once again, Billy Graham Parkway at Tryon Street, the left turning lane to go northbound there is shut down. So that's from an earlier crash. These are your drive times coming into the Charlotte area.
All right, listen to this. Students in Louisville, Kentucky are putting down the cell phones and picking up more library books.
District leaders say they are seeing an increase in library book checkouts since the new cell phone ban took effect. For example, students checked out more than 1,000 books in the first 17 days of school, compared to last year when just over 2,100 were checked out for the entire year. The students say it's like a whole new world opened up to them.
At first, I was real dramatic about the policy. You know, I thought it was going to end my whole life. And I just realized this is a good chance for me to put my phone down and start focusing back in on school. Helps people socialize, because this year I've talked to people more than I have in all 12 years of me being in school.
The teachers say one way to get kids engaged in reading and to put the screens down is to have them read to you in the car while you drive them home.
8:51 right now, from reading to writing in cursive. It's a skill that nearly disappeared during the pandemic, but students at an elementary school in Georgia are proving cursive writing is far from forgotten. Dan Kennedy takes a closer look.
In an age of texting and typing,
make sure it's anchored on a line.
Students at Robert Shaw are saying don't write off cursive just yet.
Reading and writing cursive, they're superpowers. So we're bringing it back.
Principal Dr. Kim Williams says that superpower nearly vanished during virtual learning.
We had to teach kids how to write again, how to hold a pencil.
So you want to make sure your O looks like an O and your E looks like an E.
This school year, her students are finding the value in the written word.
Sometimes me and my family, we see who can write their names the best.
In cursive?
Yeah.
Who wins?
My mom.
For many kids at this school, cursive isn't the only challenge.
At least 95% of my students' parents are from some part of Africa, and they actually speak another language.
Last semester, nearly every student here mastered writing the preamble to the U.S. Constitution in cursive, earning the state's rare John Hancock Award.
I think they're gaining confidence. I do.
Educators say it helps with literacy. Students say it helps with life.
You sign things, you do a mortgage. Like when you buy a car, you might need to sign something.
Even in an age of scrolling, these scribes are making it a point to write their next chapter in cursive.
It feels good. I feel better.
All right, so we gave a crack at it.
Yes. Now, back in my day, we had to learn cursive in school.
We all learned it, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right, Destiny.
Yeah, I did my name, and then I wanted to add WCNC Charlotte just to prove that I didn't just know my name. And then I added some hearts for the eyes. I think my W is wrong, though. I forgot how to do the W.
Yeah, I sort of freelance on it, like make up mine as I go along. But I think this is basically Ben Thompson when it comes to cursive. I think that's how you do a T.
Yeah,
I think.
that.
No, that's an F.
I mean, that looks more F-ish, but the T is very similar.
Okay, all right. All right, here we go. Washington, let's see it.
Like, what is that?
Do I need to like even say anything?
The computer did this. This is crazy.
That's a font right there.
I mean,
Your name looks beautiful.
That is.
Your name looks beautiful.
Some of us have it.
And some of us don't.
Some of us don't. That's okay.
Okay.
Here's mine. It looks like a person who is trying to
Your
figure out
signature
cursive.
is-
And that's
What
actually,
is that?
that's my signature.
Wow.
So I just wanted to say how lazy it's gotten. And yeah, no, I definitely messed up the WCNC Charlotte. I forgot to do capitals.
I will say my signature is not great. I start off with like a cursive D, and then I just kind of.
That's what I do. Yeah, big
if
C's.
if you write a note to somebody, like say you're leaving a note for your significant other, do you write in cursive or do you? Because I write like in block letters.
Really? No, it's always in cursive. Even with my kids, because I want them to learn it. I write it in cursive.
Well, I don't use cursive much.
Can we just show that one more time? Like,
Yeah.
Very nice. You would
That's,
definitely.
that's one of my like retirement goals. Is letters by Lisa.
You would get the gold star.
Oh, seriously.
Okay.
You would.
I want you to write memos. This is great.
All right.
It's very fancy.
Oh. Okay, you got
All right, there you go. All right, up next, right here on WCNC Plus, Jane Monreal. She's standing by. You see her there on the lower left-hand side of your screen. She's going to be talking to the BBB about crypto scams, and our Nathan Morbido does a debrief about how his Helene evacuation story you saw earlier here. All that and more coming your way right here on WCNC Plus.
Weather-wise, it's a beautiful day. Check it out. We will see increasing clouds as we work our way through the afternoon. Some rain, especially north of I-40 and up in the mountains, is expected, and it's happening right now, so keep that in mind. Temperatures on the way up, back into the lower 90s come Friday and Saturday. Best chance for rain is definitely Saturday, but as for today, you will have a chance for a passing shower or storm, primarily west of I-77. It's been active traffic-wise. Let's get over to Destiny.
Yeah, this morning we're looking at I-77 northbound near Woodlawn Road. At one point it was stop and go traffic on the northbound side. Now things are moving smoothly. Just be aware this morning that there's some heavy congestion in areas on I-77 in South Charlotte, I-85 northbound near Gastonia. Give yourself plenty of time to get to where you're going this morning. Our most recent incident is on I-85 north at Sam Wilson Road. We have a medical issue affecting traffic. Also a crash here, Independence Boulevard West at I-277. We also have a left turning lane closed at Billy Graham Parkway and South Tryon Street. Here are your AM drive times. Have a great Wednesday.